Welcome into the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I was trying to fix something on a screen back there, couldn't get it done. So
just gave up?
Just whatever. It doesn't matter.
Dude, this thing is loud and crystal clear today.
If that's the worst thing that happens to me today, I'm living a charmed life.
You seem to be in a good mood today.
I'm in a better mood.
You got plenty of exercise.
I did get some exercise. You saw me at the gym.
I did.
Just throwing the weight around. Actually, I wasn't. Today was like really a recovery day because yesterday was a long day.
I mean, you were grunting and yelling. You're like, "Argh!"
Yeah, that's me. I'm the yelling.
Very vocal.
I like to throw the plates down.
Yeah.
Like when I finish with the machine,
You got the chalk and did your LeBron deal.
Yeah, I don't like to lower the weights. I want to announce my presence with authority. So when I finish on the machine, I just drop it. It falls where it falls.
Okay. It is what it is.
I mean, yeah, and I'm not going to re-rack anything. I want people to deal with it yourself, you know?
Love it. Spencer Sanders get hurt?
I have no idea. It's news to me. Is that serious?
I don't know. Grind was asking me.
I am convinced there are people, and I mean this as a compliment to them. I am convinced there are people like on the beat and stuff that it is the only thing in their lives. They are just consumed with it.
With what?
Work. Like following teams, calling people, working I mean there's a compliment towards them. I do.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, I'm not on beat.
I'm just not that dude anymore. I don't want to be that way. Like I did not wake up today thinking, okay, what's the latest with Ole Miss football?
You got to think, though,
February the 6th.
Wouldn't it be tough? Because I know you've done it before, obviously, but isn't it tough to be, something every day?
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where you almost feel like you probably have to create drama.
Well, I mean, I think there are people that are on this beat and on other beats who have quotas.
I see.
And so there's a whole lot of like aggregation. Like there are people on this beat, the Ole Miss beat, who aggregate their own podcast. And I'm not criticizing. I think it's they have no choice. Like, right, you're trying to produce however many content items a week. And so if you had a podcast and you talked to somebody and they said something, you turn that one thing they said into a story. And if they said two things, you turn it into two stories. And if you said, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And
that's why you get the weird questions at the press conference, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that's, hey, I've got this content item and I need a quote for it.
When you get like just something out of left field, like it's in the middle of May and they want to know what your opinion is on somebody's role could be in the fall. You don't even know if the kid's going to be here in the fall or not.
Yeah.
Those kind of deals. Hey, Grind asked before we crank it up, Grind asked me if I'd watched the white kid that committed to Auburn last week. I have. I was very familiar with his recruiting and his stuff.
Walker White. From Little Rock.
From Little Rock's 24 kid. Grind, he's got a lot of arm talent. He has natural arm strength, natural ability to get the ball out on time with accuracy. Got a strong arm. The thing that I think he's going to have to work on, and Freeze is really good at developing this, he's got to learn how to change arm angles, and he has to learn how to be, if I had two negative things, arm angles, changing them affects his accuracy, and then two is he has to get comfortable being uncomfortable. So when things, the pocket starts closing down on him, and he has to change arm angles is when his accuracy struggles. But he's a talent. He's a legit talent. Grind says I said the white kid.
Well, at first I was like, wait a minute, what?
Well, that's the last name is the kid's last name.
His name is White.
For those just joining in, the kid's last name is White.
Yeah, Walker White.
The White. That's not what I meant. The white kid. But
he was recruited by everybody.
Yeah, he's got the right stuff. He's got the things you can't coach. But like I said, he has to learn how to change arm angles and become accurate. Like if you saw any of a lot of his, I don't watch highlight tapes on quarterbacks. Because have you ever seen an incompletion on a quarterback highlight tape?
No.
They're not out there. So you have to see when it goes bad, why does it go bad? So, but he makes great decisions. He knows where he is going with the football. He makes quick, decisive decisions. But he has to get when the pocket starts closing down or he gets pressure or has to change arm angles is when his accuracy suffers. So he has to get comfortable being uncomfortable, especially in this league.
I'm admitting on the board that I was today years old when I found out about this.
What's that?
About Spencer Sanders. Just no idea.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yep. You ready? I need some juice today. I'm a little tired.
Kiffin didn't say anything about it on Wednesday when he was asked about quarterbacks. So I don't know. I mean, whatever. We're gonna make a promise right here before God and all these people. We're not going an hour and 58 minutes.
I don't have anything I'm that pissed about.
Okay,
today.
good. All right. And we're gonna try to get 15 minutes without expletives.
I'm not saying any cuss words today.
We're gonna give it a shot.
I'm not gonna say a cuss word today.
All right, here we go.
Psych.
Welcome into another edition of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey with his opening his bottle of Rain. Thanks for being with us here on this Monday afternoon. Appreciate you joining us. Talk for a second, Tyler.
Check, mic check.
No, you're good. You're good. You don't have to check mics. I need to pull screens back.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, I'm rolling with the cherry limeade today. I'm going back to back Thursday, Monday cherry limeade. I needed some juice today, and this cherry limeade is about as smooth as it gets.
Have an energy issue?
I'm tired today. I did not sleep well last night, so I don't sleep well hardly any night, but
I got a good sleep score last night. I got a 91.
Maybe that's when you're in a good mood.
I did sleep some this weekend. I realized last week that I had hit the wall and that I needed to recharge the batteries a little bit. And so after we got through the recruiting stuff, like Thursday, come Friday, I was like, you know what? I'm taking a little chill time, taking a little me time.
Yeah, I know. We were talking before we got started. I mean, you ventured out and
I know it's big news. Neal,
headline news.
Neal went someplace in Oxford for like an hour
socially.
Well, I mean, not kind of social. It was anti-socially.
Did you talk to anybody at the bar?
Just told the
anybody that wasn't employed there. Did
you
talk to anybody that wasn't employed?
I did not.
I'm kind of like my feelings were a little hurt. I didn't get the invite, man.
Well, it was
beer drinking occurring.
It was a spur of the moment thing. Caroline had a shoulder. She came into town to get. She's going to have a procedure done on her shoulder this summer.
Labrum?
It appears that she has a torn labrum.
Ooh.
And so
had that one.
We're right now in the pain maintenance portion of the
cortisone shot.
I'm not sure what exactly shot it was, but she got a shot, yes. And
those work, by the way.
Let's hope so. And I think it will. But about as good a doctor as you're possibly going to get. Gave it to her. So if this doesn't work, then it's bad.
The pain management into the labrum really hurts, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't, because they don't go through or they didn't with mine anyway. They don't go through the front where it hurts. They go through the back.
They go through the back.
And they have to take that needle and basically take it over the joint. Not fun.
I watched that. And so anyway.
Does that give you the jeebies?
No.
Do needles bother you?
No.
Does blood bother you?
Not really. Watching the needle go into my daughter's shoulder bothered me.
Yeah.
But I trusted the doctor implicitly who was doing it. So we did that, and then she went to visit with a couple of her friends or something. I think she was going to the Kyle house at Ole Miss to see some friends of hers that are there. And so just spur of the moment as I was driving home, I was like, it's 2:30. I went for a long run this morning. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat. And I just stopped and went to the Blind Pig and by myself. And I laughed to myself because I'm like, this is my first time out in Oxford in like 10 months.
Dude, we got to get you out more, man. I mean, you made me look like just a social butterfly.
Oh, compared to me, you were like the Oxford Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I even left the house this weekend. And you make me look like a social butterfly. I'm sure I did. I just don't remember. My wife will probably tell me I didn't. I did not leave yesterday.
Did you not leave the house?
Not yesterday.
Are you the type that gets nervous if you go days without leaving the house?
Do I get nervous?
Yeah. Does it bother you?
Hell no.
No, I'm the same way.
No.
Like I have people going, I go stir crazy. I'm like, I just Didn't even think about
I have
it.
plenty to do. I mean, I got 3 kids. I
Yeah.
take it back. Saturday, I left and went to me and my man Ronnie Williams went to out to look at some baseball stuff.
Okay.
So I did leave for about an hour and a half on Saturday.
There you go.
So that was my get out. For
Y'all
the weekend.
coaching again?
We are.
Okay.
We are changing organizations. So I don't know when Ronnie can tell me when I can make an official announcement.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we got kids on our team. It's a little different this year because we used to coach, fall and spring, but now all the kids are high school now.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't do anything till high school's over. So we have some kids from Lafayette, some kids from Oxford, and so we can't do anything till everybody gets done. So it'll be a busy summer.
One of my regrets for Carson was that he had such a negative travel ball experience with baseball at that age.
Yep.
Because I think he would have really liked baseball. Tall, left-handed kid.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I could tell stories.
I've been. Ronnie could probably tell some stories on me too. I've had a couple run-ins with some baseball coaches already in my short stint.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's not that serious, man. I've had some. So anyway.
We're brought to you by Rain. This podcast always brought to you by Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Rain Body Fuel to learn more.
Speaking of Bob, our guy at Monster, he got drafted in Major League Baseball draft.
Yeah.
He's a big baseball guy.
Yeah.
I think he ended up with, he's going to shoot me when I tell him that I think I'm right. Padres, I think, is where he finished up.
For some reason, that sounds right.
But I know he went to Northwestern and he was like the home run leader.
Yeah, I remember him talking about his career.
So,
all right. So, you wanted to talk about the NFL maybe missing an opportunity.
Yeah,
XFL, USFL, AFL, all these leagues.
I want to get your opinion
have
too.
Spring football. Okay.
All right. So we've gone from no leagues to one league to 2 leagues, and now that COVID's over, and I'll tell you what, the old AFL, the Alliance League that they had going right when COVID hit, they had something going there a little bit. I think that was going to work the way they had it funded correctly. They were paying the players correctly. They had a TV deal, and then COVID hit, right? Kind of shut everything down. But now we got the XFL starting. We got USFL starting, and now we got arena football starting, and there's just not enough talent to go around. There is for one league, I think. I don't think for 3 additional. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I agree with that. You're talking to somebody that does not. For me to watch spring professional football or spring football period, I'm either going to have to be getting paid to cover it, or you're going to have to come up with something that gets me turned to it.
Yeah, I'm a football guy now. I love it, and I don't watch it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Now, let me tell you what I do. I'll watch the XFL because AJ's playing as the quarterback for the St. Louis Battlehawks, but I'm not watching because I'm interested in the game as much as I am interested in his performance.
Yeah, you're not fiending for football in the spring.
I'm watching him play, and I'll watch all their games and all that. But here's where I've said this for a while now, and again, it's kind of like our transfer rule that everybody gets hot at me for my opinion on that. Matter of fact, most people agree with my opinion. By the way, I got a lot of phone calls and texts this week. Not most. 100. I had 100% agreement. By the way, 9 FBS head coaches that I talked to since last Thursday. 100% in agreement with my statement. But anyway, nobody understands it. Anyway, here's my thing. I think the NFL is missing an opportunity here. I think, in my opinion, the reason that these leagues don't really make it is branding. Like, who knows any one player on the Birmingham Stallions or the New Jersey Generals or the Houston Gamblers? Nobody knows that. Why doesn't the NFL, so they have a 53-man roster. 45 of those are active on Sundays, have another 53 players. So now you're up to, call it 105, that's what the college rosters were, 105. And now, if you play in 7 games or less during the season, then you're eligible to play in the spring, which is, you still keep your 53 and all that stuff, but you only play 17 games a year because it's a 10-game season in the spring. It'll help develop the kids. You can't tell me that the NFL can't get a TV deal for that. you're getting owners who a lot of times own the stadium. So you're getting more, you're getting fans in the stands. And I could see it being like an NFL preseason attendance, if not a little bit more. But now as fans, you're going to follow it more because you have vested interest. If you were a Bears fan, you would probably watch the Bears play a little bit when you would watch
So
one game.
they'd wear Bears
Yeah.
uniforms and be the Bears. And
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So you would watch a game or two more than you're going to watch this other stuff.
Well, I mean, I would watch that more. Yeah, because I don't watch the other stuff. I mean, I'm a season guy, right? Football's in the fall for me. And so when the spring rolls around, I mean, look, I watch a lot of NBA. I know that makes me weird in these parts, but I watch a lot of NBA. I watch, I'm up here at night when I'm working. I'll have an NBA game on here and an NBA game on there.
You have the package?
Yeah.
NBA?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I watch a lot of Major League Baseball. So in the spring, I don't like the thought of, hey, I'm going to watch a pro football game. It doesn't resonate with me. But if you told me that I was watching the Bears versus the Lions and there were some developmental guys, I might be more inclined to at least turn it on. My question would be, and I don't know this, this is not me being rhetorical at all. I would wonder whether the NFL would listen to that and go, it's a lot of expense.
But it's really not, though. That's what I've actually looked at it. All right. So you're getting, sure, it's going to be a little bit of an expense, but you've already got all these guys on rookie deals and everything else. Okay. So it's just like you're paying them for their check. Like, so if you get let's just call it for shits and giggles, even numbers. Let's say you made a $1.7 million in the NFL. Every Tuesday, you're getting a $100,000 check in the games that you played in, that you were active in. If you're on a practice squad that week, you're getting like $8,000. You don't get what's your contract. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So you're getting basically a full year's work out of them, and you're getting development. And we're talking about paying quarterbacks $60 million, right? For Aaron Rodgers. You can fund 3 teams for that much. But what you're getting back in a TV deal and what you're getting back in ticket sales year round. And the other thing is coaches too. You're developing coaches. Everybody has these assistant offensive line coaches. It gives guys the chance to be the head coach or whatever it is. You already have the staffing and everything else that's needed. And you're not putting any extra ding on their body, the players, because you can't play, then it's the same as playing in the season, right? And then it'll allow you during, if you have a situation like the 49ers had when you had to go through all these quarterbacks, you got somebody that actually has experience in your system. And you can practice all you want to. I know we've talked about this, but there's no substitution for live reps. There's just not. So I would be very interested. I wish they would do that. And I think it would give, first of all, it would squash all these other leagues. They wouldn't have a chance they wouldn't have a hill to stand on. It would be the number 1 spring league.
It would be that for sure.
And so you're squashing all this out, but there's just not, look, what are we talking about? Every team is 50 guys. There's not another 150 players. That's like 3 times as much talent that it would take to play. There's just not that much. You think the offensive line plays bad in the NFL? Wait till you watch some of this stuff.
Speaking of the NFL, it was quite the topic among players this weekend. We'll get to the Pro Bowl. We'll get to that in a minute. Goodness gracious. Sometimes you don't want to admit the quiet part out loud. NFL talking about outlawing the hip drop tackle after a couple of these injuries. Pollard with the Cowboys, the Patrick Mahomes injury. I don't know if you heard, but Patrick Mahomes played on one leg. It's a miracle. He's a miracle worker. He's the first quarterback in the history of the game to play with a sprained ankle. It's incredible what he's been able to do. It's truly remarkable. He almost died, and he came back a week later and had a lower quarterback rating.
How do you really feel about that, Neal?
Patrick Mahomes,
who are you pulling for Sunday, Neal?
I don't know if you heard, but he could barely walk when he got up on Sunday morning, and somehow he guided his team to victory on the battlefield. It was a stunning development.
Oh, you killed me.
They want to outlaw the hip drop tackle. I saw Logan Wilson with the Bengals just go, no. One guy, I can't remember who it was, an NFL defender, said, next thing you're going to say is that how are we supposed to bring down these elite, super athletic people that they're trying to tackle. I mean, they're not trying to tackle me and you out there. They're tackling people who can like really do things with their bodies. If you take away the ability,
you can't hit them high.
Can't hit them high. You can't grab them from behind.
Can't grab them from behind. You can't horse collar. This is what you can't do. We can't horse collar, which is putting your hand inside the. I forgot the actual name of the term, but basically, it's inside the shoulder pads and yanking them down from behind. You can't target. Can't hit them high. Quarterbacks, you can't hit low. So now we can't hit them from the back either.
Hey, maybe Sunday was a sign of things to come.
No, I refuse to stop.
Maybe
like everybody that's
maybe
been
we're going to put
that,
flags
look,
on them.
all you, I almost said a cuss word, all you buttholes out there that are,
I mean, flag football
are saying the future of football. Everybody watch the Pro Bowl. It's the future of football. Stop. Quit. Just quit. Just save yourself some
You could put
time.
advertising on the flags.
Quit. It's not doing it. It's not doing it. It's never going to happen. But anyway, here is seriously a problem. Is for safety concerns, I say several, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, people started teaching tackling a little bit different instead of just the old fashioned square them up and, what you were taught when you were in high school, put your head on the ball kind of stuff. People started teaching a lot what Pete Carroll was doing out in Seattle, which is, I call it gator roll tackling. But part of that is that you're going to end up around their waist in their lower half. It's impossible to we put in this great safe thing on tackling that stopped numerous injuries.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're going to outlaw that because it really caused 2 prominent injuries. It's part of the game. Every tackle, I mean, it's a contact sport. I don't think anybody's jumping on. I mean, you're never going to be in a position where you're going to intentionally jump on the back of somebody's hips. This slide down the hip, back of the knees, what it is. This tackle, you're never going to do that on purpose. The only time I've ever, me playing the game, I was thinking about this the other day, is like if you're a tight end's caught the ball and maybe a DB's trying to tackle him in space from behind, you got to get the big boy down somehow. You just can't go for a ride. I mean, if you're Mike Hilton and you hit Travis Kelce, if you hit him from behind, he's not going down. Does that make sense?
Of course.
You have to grab his legs and have him stop. So what does Mike Hilton got to do? Like, slow down, Travis, and you got to go run around him to the front to tackle him?
Think how much safer that would be.
I mean, what are we talking about?
Well,
this is the dumbest.
How much safer would that be?
Like,
Travis would probably sign up for that.
What are we like?
Now, what happens if Mike says, "Hey, Travis, please slow down," and Travis refuses?
I mean, right? I mean, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard of in my life. There's one. I tried. I made it. How long did I make it?
You did fine. You got us to a safe spot.
All right. But that's so dumb. Like, what are we doing? I mean, I get targeting, cool. All right, this roughing the quarterback stuff's out of hand. Like, if they want to fix a rule, let's go fix that one. Let's go fix roughing the quarterback. Because I heard, did you hear this? Did you see?
All I know about quarterbacks is that Patrick Mahomes played with just one leg.
Did you see?
That's all I know.
Did you see Trent Dilfer calling out all the new quarterbacks, talking about how because there's no contact downfield and now all these quarterback rules that he kind of thinks that the current quarterback is highly overrated?
Oh, I didn't see that.
Pretty good point.
I mean,
there's no fear anymore because you can't hit guys going across the middle anymore. You can throw balls and fit balls in there you used to not do.
Can you imagine John Elway in today's football? Like John Elway in his 20s in today's football?
Or Marino, any of those guys. But Ronnie Lott, you can't do. Ronnie Lott would not make it in today's football.
No, you'd have to completely change the way you play the game.
I mean,
Steve Atwater.
Yeah.
Totally have to change the way he plays the game.
What was my guy for the Cardinals? Cecil? I can't remember his first name.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
He would jack you up too.
John Lynch.
John Lynch.
Have to play the game completely differently today.
Jack you up.
He couldn't do that today, though.
No. It's just a different game, man.
Troy Polamalu have to play the game differently today.
I'm glad you made an attempt at pronouncing his name because I would have not been able to. I mean, just everybody, every team had that enforcer, right? I mean, that's basically what it was.
A lot of them did, sure.
That's what it was. And,
you had the guy that punished you if you came over the middle of the field.
Yeah. And you knew I played slot, and I knew when I came across the middle, I knew who their guy was. And if I could not see him, that meant I went down. because he was somewhere it was going to hurt. If you can see it coming, you're fine. It's the ones you can't see coming. So, Bill Bates, there you go. Fun fact, I recruited Bill Bates' son, Arkansas State.
Really?
Graham Bates did. Safety. Did the same thing. He'd knock you out, too. Fun fact. Played high school football with Tim Tebow.
At the Bowles School?
No, at Nice.
Oh, at Nice. Okay. Tebow played at Nice?
He did.
Did he play at the Bowles School ever?
Mm-mm.
He did not? Okay. I don't know why I thought that he did. All right.
How about this? A man, Vic Fangio. Did you see that?
Well, I did not know the number was what it was. $4.5 million per for 3 years. That's big time money for a coordinator.
That just he reset the market by himself. That's
There's some guys calling their agents.
Yeah. Hey, see what had happened was, Coach, $4.5 million a year for a coordinator in the NFL.
Well, in today's NFL, for the most part, and there are exceptions, the head coach is a coordinator on one side of the ball, usually offense.
Yep.
And he hands over the defensive coordinator. The defensive coordinator is basically the co-head coach, does fewer of the off-the-field stuff, but on the field, he has his side of the ball.
Yeah.
So I get it.
$4.5 million, though.
I mean, if you can
put
put an elite defense out there, you'll get paid.
Good. I mean, he's as good as gets. All right. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because I had it on the TV. I didn't even have the volume up. The Pro Bowl was a joke because we knew it was going to be. But here was the part of the Pro Bowl. If this doesn't tell you after we went on our Tyler Huntley deal. So one of the reasons our good friend Tyler Huntley made it into the Pro Bowl last week was because our friend Josh Allen said he was injured. He couldn't participate. And literally it says injury is the reason he wasn't there.
Okay.
But me being a big golf fan like I am, I'm just flipping the tube. A man, Josh Allen, is playing the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am this weekend. On the same day that the Pro Bowl was.
Maybe his injury wasn't.
What injury did he have
I don't know.
that he could play golf, but he couldn't play flag football?
Ankle?
No, I mean it would hurt trying to play golf.
Or Patrick Mahomes could do it.
Oh, he could do it.
I don't know. I mean, he didn't want to be there. A lot of them didn't want to be there. Some of them were just outwardly calling it a joke, and it really was stupid.
Do you know when I lost all hope for it was when I turned it on. There was no flag football game on. I was watching long snappers, punters, and kickers play tic-tac-toe on a big screen as a part of the competition. I was done. I saw a long snapper snapping it, trying to play tic-tac-toe, and they were
trying to kick the ball to hit an X.
Yeah. They had a long snapper, the punter, and so the long snapper was snapping from the 25-yard line, and the punter and the field goal kicker were kicking from 45 yards away, playing tic-tac-toe. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I like football, but I don't like it that much. I don't need that.
I mean, look, I'm a football guy.
NFL Films had a Super Bowl marathon. The highlights,
I would do that.
That was good. That was solid.
I would do that.
That's where you realize, man, Tom Brady was the GOAT. Because I'm in here working. I'm not really watching. I just have it on. But every 5 minutes, it's Tom Brady, and it's like, damn, did he play in that one too? And you're like, yeah, he played in all of them.
2001 was the first one.
Like Tom Brady played in 31 Super Bowls.
It's a lot. What did he play? So it's from 01 to 23, basically.
He played in every other Super Bowl.
Pretty much. 10 out of 22 or 23, whatever it was. But Killer Cam says that's what they do at practice. You know what? You are not wrong.
You know what? Those guys. I know a kicker pretty well. I know a couple of kickers pretty well, and I actually want to do a kicking show about what do y'all do all day?
We can call LT. He'll do it.
Yeah, because it's like because they go kick at the beginning of practice, and then they leave, and then they usually kind of finish practice with kicking.
Yeah, every place is different.
But like there's an hour and a half, they just go someplace, and it's like, what do you want them to do? Like, because at the end of the day, on Saturday or Sunday, they're either gonna make their kicks or they don't. And what they do in the interim really doesn't matter to you. You don't want them out there running around getting hurt. You don't need them being a body dummy out there. I mean, they got to be healthy, and so you can't kick 2 hours a day. So what do they do? I mean, my guess is that they just go hang out and chat. And
so funny story. That just brought up all kinds of crazy things in my head. So when I played at Auburn, there were no roster limits as far as Title IX. So we had like 150 kids on the team. Well, like 40 of them were kickers. And so Rob Baronis, a good friend of ours, he hung out. We don't call him a kicker. He was a cool dude. Well, he'd be like, dude, we would kick like period 3. I'm talking about we'd stretch. Stretch, catch and pat goes, and it was special teams. Well, dude, that was it. That was all we kicked for the whole day. And so we had the practice facility, the same place it is still at Auburn.
Uh-huh.
They would all leave and go walk down to the stadium, which is 2 blocks away, a block away, whatever it is, and they'd play flag football the whole practice against each other. And then they would come back in time to start to wrap it up. Coach would talk or whatever. LT, I don't know what the guys at Troy, I know they went around in the stadium and messed around a little bit because we were right next door, but LT was not what I call a kicker. He's actually a really good athlete. He would, Lawrence Tynes, he would, like during inside and things like that, he would line up at receiver stuff during inside messing around because he was just a good athlete, but he never got in the way or got anything like that. But yeah, it's a pretty good life if you can do it. And of course, J.K. Scott at Alabama is the Nick Saban's only golden child of all time. Could get away with murder.
Really?
Yeah. I hadn't told that on here?
No.
All right. So hope I don't get in trouble for this. So
he's in the pros now, right?
Yeah. He kicks for San Diego.
Okay.
Or LA.
Chargers, whatever.
Yeah, Chargers. Yeah. So
for people our age, they'll always be San Diego.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So he, to this day, the greatest punter I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes. Just could launch it.
Yeah.
And so we had a opening. Our punter had left. It was I think it was my last year at Alabama. We had an opening for a punter. And so coach said, hey, we're going to have a kicking camp in the summer. This is the previous summer. We're going to have a kicking camp. Make sure, he told like whoever the kicking guru was that, I can't remember who it was, tell them that we're going to have a scholarship for a punter. Well, dude, every punter in America shows up for this camp. Well, JK wins it, right? And he's from Denver. And so we were really concerned because he's out there kicking in altitude and stuff like that. And we're like, I don't know how much of it's altitude and all that stuff. Well, just comes out there and just launches mortars. Well, being in Denver, he doesn't get to come back at all, right? He comes back for his official visit. He comes back for official visit and then comes back when it's time to report the next June. So now we're in this next kicking camp. All right. And that was the year that players could coach in the camps or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so coach was like, hey, go tell him to get loose. We need to see if he can do this thing, or we got to figure out what we're going to do for punter this year. Okay, cool. So we got the kicking camp, got there and get him loose. And he goes out there and we're walking out there. And as we're walking to him, he is just launching mortars, man, just killing them. And so I had my stopwatch on me. And so Coach Saban had his straw hat on, had his little practice script, and we were standing off to the side. And he says, "What's that?" He has it above his mouth. And he says, "What's that?" And I said, "Coach, that's like it's 53 at like a 4.9 hang." He's like, "Okay." Boom. What's that? I said, "Coach, that's like 54 with a 5.0 hang." Just launching balls. And we had this new assistant, like a quality control guy, and it's a camp, so he can kind of instruct, So he's like, JK, I think you should not drop the ball like this. I think you should, do this with the ball. And JK's first day, he's like, oh, okay, cool. He goes, and he shanks the shit out of it, right?
Uh-huh.
He's like, no, you're dropping it. It's got to be like this. And he goes, shanks the other way. And Nick goes, hey, what's that guy's name? I told him. He's like, hey, come here, I'll tell you something, talking to the coach.
Uh-huh.
He goes, if you ever say another fucking word to him, your ass is great. Your ass is gone. Don't say another word. And dude, nobody coached the guy. So he's all good all summer.
Uh-huh.
This is the end of the story. All good all summer. We're like, I don't know, day 3 of camp, day 3 or 4 of camp. And we get out there and we're doing punt like period 4. And JK, he's first 3 days has just launched rockets the whole time, right?
Uh-huh.
True freshman. Day 4, he gets out there, he starts shanking them again. And Nick's in the back, right, standing behind the punter. He's like, JK, what's going on? He's like, Coach, my back's hurt, my hamstrings. He goes, why are you so sore? He goes, we were power cleaning yesterday in the weight room and all that stuff. Dude, Nick's pissed. All right, Nick's pissed. And so this is the only time this ever happened the entire time I was at Alabama. All right, so we go, Nick's pissed the whole rest of practice. He's going off the whole practice. and we're breaking the team down, right? He's doing his deal at the end, and he finishes it up. Wow, I need every coach in the staff room right now. And I'm like, golly, who pissed him off? This is 2 hours later. I'm like, man, somebody's done something. This has never happened before.
Right.
And we get up there, and I sit this long square table, and he's at one end of the table, and I'm at the other end of the table. And so he's going down the deal like this, and he looks on around what we call the outfield. And he doesn't see strength coach
Cochran.
Cochran doesn't see Cock.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Where's Cock?" And I look over, and he's not there. He looks at me and says, "Go get him." And so I'm texting him. I'm going to this long deal, and I get to the back door that goes to downstairs, the secret door. It goes to the weight room, and Cock's coming up, and he's like, "What'd I do?" I was like, "Dude, I don't know," but he's pissed and he's confused. He's like, "Oh shit." So we go in there and we sit down, and I walk back in with Cock, and it's just stone cold silent. Everybody's just sitting there. He's like, "Hey," he's like, "I want everybody to hear this. No one in this building is to say another word to JK. Does everybody understand that? If he doesn't want to lift, he doesn't lift." And to this day, he went out and bought special weight equipment. And so to this day, in every drill, to this day, or this whole time, his whole career there, they would go to weights and he'd go off on his own and do his little kicking stuff and on the side. Nobody coached the guy for the rest of the time.
Well, it worked.
And dude, he was talented, man. So he
changed some games for them.
Oh, dude. I mean, he is the best. I'm sure there's better. He's the best punter I've ever seen.
That you ever saw in person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I didn't go out and look for a lot of them, but he could crush it.
I mean, it's not like you need him to be power cleaning if he's booming the ball 54 yards.
Dude, it was impressive though, to the point to where you have scouts there every day at practice and stuff. And scouts would, instead of talking to whoever, strength coaches or whatever, when he punted, it was like an amazement thing. I mean, he could just, the hang time he could put on it. It was just, it's impressive. I mean, he was good. So.
All right. Speaking of Alabama.
Yep.
A lot of people worked up about your buddy Kevin Steele getting the defensive coordinator job. Y'all are tight. You're big buddies.
We're buddies.
Turns out you knew and you didn't tell. Could have broken the news right here on McCready and Siskey, but no, had to protect a friend. And then Tommy Rees from Notre Dame.
Yeah. Let's two things. Let's start with Tommy Rees. I thought this was kind of the avenue. I didn't know Tommy Rees was going to be the guy. But you don't recreate there's no recreation. And so to go get I know a lot of Bama fans are all up and tight. God, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to run that offense. He doesn't hire you to go run your stuff. He hires you to run that offense. They're going to use the same terminology. And so going and getting a name coordinator at Alabama is very difficult. I mean, it is. And you go all the way back, Major Applewhite was a young coach when he took that job. I'm trying to think. Do you remember where McElwain was before he was at Alabama? He was somewhere out west. Fresno State is where he was at. So he gets McElwain from Fresno State. Then he goes to Nussmeier, who was at Washington. And then he goes, and then that's when he hired Lane. Well, when he hired Lane as the OC, nobody was hiring Lane. Lane had just got fired from USC.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was hiring Lane. So he hires Lane, and then he hires Sark. Sark had gone through his deal at USC. And then Loxley was on staff. And then, then Dable was on staff. It's like he's never really had to go out and get anybody in a long time because you're running his stuff. When they run power this fall, it's going to be called plant in the huddle. It's just what they do. When they run inside zone, it's going to be Blunt or Bobby, depending on if it's open inside or tight inside. I mean, that's just what they do. And you can put your own flavor on it,
sure,
by your style of play, but you're calling the same plays. So I think that's kind of anticlimactic. You just got to find a young guy who needs the Alabama on his resume.
Okay.
When it comes to my good friend Kevin
I was
Steele,
going to say Kevin Steele's not a young guy who needs Alabama on his resume. He already has Alabama on his resume.
no, but
Were you surprised at all that he left Miami for Alabama?
No, there's some personal stuff there getting back to Alabama. He's got kids, grandkids, family. Everybody's from Alabama. He's from right outside of Tuscaloosa, is where he's from originally, has a farmhouse there, the whole deal. But this is the third time he's been with Nick, right? So he was there as his defensive coordinator his first year. Left, came back. He's the one who actually called me when I first got my very first phone call to go to Alabama. Kevin Steele's the one who called me. To say we're friends is probably an understatement. We were next door neighbors, to the point to where we always made a joke where we were never further than 20 feet apart from each other for like 2 years. His bed, I shit you not, if this was my bed, okay, right here was the head of my bed.
Right.
I bet the head of his bed was at that wall. There was like 3 feet of grass in his bedroom faced.
It's kind of
right there. Yeah. But I mean, there were 2 walls and a small patch of grass in between. But to the point, it was like funny is like, so he's a big runner, right? And I get up, I'm not.
You're a big runner.
I'm not.
You love some running.
So I would get up. It'd be like, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd get up and go get a cup of coffee. And I would go in the kitchen. And we had windows just like this, like with the shades like that. Mine would be open. The kitchen window was facing his workout room. And so he would be in there running on the treadmill. And I'd be fixing my coffee. I'm tired. He'd look down and go, like 25 minutes. We'd get in the car and drive to work together 25 minutes later. So, I mean, we spent a lot of time together. Good dude, good ball coach. A lot of people are like having like, I don't know. He gets a bad rap for some people about coaching. Dude can coach football now. He gets like, he's been a head coach one time 20 years ago.
He was almost a head coach recently.
Yeah. I get that, but the guy can coach football.
Sure.
Everybody's talking about, well, he at Miami, he did this. Look, being a coordinator is all about your players. How good are your players? And for somebody that actually understands X's and O's, okay, when you watch Miami, you didn't go, man, they're not prepared or they're in the wrong places. You can't put a guy unblocked at the quarterback and him not make the tackle. When he misses a tackle unblocked, that's not scheme, that's player.
Yes.
And a lot of that.
There's a ton of that.
Yeah, Grind says something about retirement too. I did see some reports on that. That's inaccurate. He's reached his 10 years in Alabama. So when soon as he signed his 3-year deal at Auburn, his 10 years were good. He needed those last 3. When he came to Auburn Grind, he was vested. So this is kind of
needed to get closer to family.
Yeah. So he's not going to make any more dollars in retirement for going to Alabama. He's got plenty of money. So just got closer to family and grandkids in Mobile now because his son Gordon is the offensive line coach for Kane and at South Alabama. So he's got his brother actually, I think, works at Auburn in the front office, but he's got a lot of family in Alabama. So I'm happy for him. And he's a stud of a guy. And we still go to vacation and see those guys. He vacations. He's got a house. I won't tell where he's got a house, but in the greater Charleston area.
Gotcha.
And we go and see each other on summer vacation.
We're brought to you by Walk On Sports Bistro. They put everything they've got into bringing you game day with a taste of Louisiana. Dig into their mouth-watering, made-from-scratch Louisiana cuisine, po' boys, gumbo, voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers, fresh salads, all in front of 70-plus TVs, 40-plus ice-cold beers on tap. Check them out. In Oxford or Ridgeland in particular, if you live in Oxford or the Jackson area, but if not, you live elsewhere, stop at your local Walk-Ons. Tell them that you appreciate Walk-Ons sponsoring our programming. And
I saw they opened one up in Opelika today.
Is that right?
I did. I saw that on social media.
I know they were a big part of the Reese's Senior Bowl last weekend.
Yep.
So, yeah, Walk-Ons. Check out their app. Their Walk-Ons app is fantastic, or you can also order online at walkons.com. That's walk, WALK -ONS.com.
You make anything of this Todd Monken doing all these NFL interviews?
I mean, it tells me he wants to go to the NFL.
Man, he's going for his second interview with the Baltimore Ravens. And for those that don't know, he's the offensive coordinator at Georgia.
I mean, it tells me, look, we talk about this a lot, probably to the point where people get tired of it. There's a lot of college coaches that are looking at the current landscape, and if they have NFL opportunities, they want to pursue it for a number of reasons. Line on a resume, don't you recruit, lifestyle in the part of the for any coach in season's a grind, right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter what level.
If you're high school coaching, inside the season is a grind.
I tell people all the time, I never worked any harder as a college coach in season than I didn't as a high school coach.
Right.
It's season to season.
But for the NFL guys, when the season ends, after you get a chance to catch your breath and you get back into the building, you're there at 8:30 in the morning, and you're leaving at 4:30 in the afternoon, 5, sometimes a little earlier. Sometimes you stay a little later, but like on a Friday, you're out at 2:30, 3 o'clock. They don't want you to burn out because they want you to be fresh. And you have some mini camp things come in and you're busy again. And you've got some draft stuff and they'll send you to
positional draft stuff
where you evaluate some film and some things like that. But you're not recruiting. You might recruit during a free agency thing. A free agent might come into the building for a day, and you might be saying, hey, we're going to go to dinner. Come meet us at whatever. But you get my point.
Right.
It's not this. It's not what Todd Monken's having to do on Kirby Smart's staff. Kirby Smart's a guy that is very vocal about this, and he's right. Kirby Smart's winning not because Kirby Smart's out coaching everybody. Kirby Smart's winning, and he's a hell of a good coach. Don't get me wrong. But he's winning because he's got players. They got the better players. And he'll tell you that up front.
He's one of the few that'll actually tell you.
He'll tell you up front, look, this is about, we got to have players. This is about players. Kirby Smart doesn't line up across from Clark Lee and go, hey, Clark, I'm about to X and O your ass to death, buddy.
He can.
Of course.
But, he can.
But I mean, but if they did, it would be, it wouldn't be 52-0.
Right.
When it was over. Clark Lee would probably hold his own on the whiteboard.
Yes.
Okay. It's players. And Kirby's one of those guys who's going to recruit his ass off himself. So, of course, he's going to expect his staff to do it too. And I'm sure that some of these guys look at it and go, again, it's nothing personal, but you can get out.
Yeah.
And you can have a weekend off and you can go see little Johnny play T-ball and you can do whatever. And there's more and more of that. And until, not to get on this topic again, but I mean, for every coach I know, 100. But the ones that I know, they are unanimous about this. This deal something has to give. It's you're asking people to recruit year round, constantly, and you're having to recruit your own players, and you're having to.
That's the biggest problem.
You're having to recruit
the biggest time suck.
The high school guys. Now you've got these portal windows that are insane. Let's be honest. You've got the tampering window where you're recruiting, but you're having to be super careful about it, which makes it even harder, really. And so you've just got all this stuff. And so if you told me that Todd Monken's just really serious about getting back to the NFL because he's compared the two and he goes, that's a better lifestyle, that's what I'd buy.
Yeah. Grind said, I guess Saban is just different. I mean, no, I think of what you see in Kirby. I mean, Kirby works like Coach Saban. There's just not many guys out there that do it. I mean, that's just the facts. And I've said this on here 100 times, but I've never seen a human being, much less a football coach, work like Coach Saban. But you don't mind working for a guy. Here was my thing. I enjoyed the grind at Alabama. Again, I messed up a little bit, right? I enjoyed it, but you know what made it easier is I knew that no matter how hard I worked, the guy that was sitting behind the chair wasn't like, hey, y'all do this, I'm not going to work. You know what I mean?
Sure, of course.
Hey,
you knew that everybody in the building was working like
everybody was. And, he's going home at nighttime watching 10 guys a night. He's on vacation. We're loading up 100 guys, 150 guys on vacation. 2 weeks later, we're having to put another 150 guys on, on his vacation. I mean, he works literally nonstop. I mean, he does two things in all season. He's either watching recruits or he's watching next year's opponents. I mean, no downtime. Guy grinds. There's no wasted time now. And he gets after it. But there's just not when it comes to the difference now, when it comes to talking about the time, most of the time suck comes recruiting your own players. That's because they are getting tampered with, and you have to recruit them to stay in a nutshell. So that's where all the time sucks coming. But this is the second one with Baltimore. My interest level here is this: is I think Todd Monken's a great coach. Really, really good offensive mind. I'll be interested to see if he does go. What does Kirby do? And this is why I say that is everything he's done's been the Coach Saban model, right? So does he keep the same terminology? Like that's a big thing with Nick, right? Talking about new coordinators, it's just one person learning new terminology instead of 100 people learning, right? So I'm being interested to see if he does that or not, if he leaves.
How attractive would that Georgia OC job be?
Shit. Sign me up, cuz.
Yeah.
I mean, look, again, it goes back to players, right? I'm an offensive guy. I've been an offensive guy my whole life. But 2 years ago, I could have coached Georgia's defense, and I've never coached defense a snap in my life. And we could have ran cover 1 and cover 0, cat coverage. Hey, we're playing man free and cover 0, and we'd have been a top 15 defense.
Yeah, just go get them.
Just go get them. It's all about players. And same thing on offense is I used to laugh all the time. So when I became a high school coach, I came from college, and I go in the first game, you'd have all these guys schemed up, and you just couldn't do adjustments fast enough with people on staff because they didn't understand whatever it was, right? I became a better high school coach when we went on our big winning streak and started really winning. I was designing plays that I knew the defensive coordinator had me beat on the board because he wouldn't adjust. Because I had Mark Barron and Ivan Matchett and A.J. McCarron and Destin Hood. I'm literally running speed option, not blocking. Like you can either block you want to block the flat coverage defender, pitch man, basically on speed option. Nah, just take them to the high safety. Because if the defensive coordinator knew that he had a guy for your guy, he would never adjust. And he'd stay in the same thing because he had you beat on the board. The only problem was my X was better than his O. And Mark Barron was going to make his guy miss 7 out of 10 times and was going to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
I was designing plays like I was taking, ISO and power. I was taking my front side combo all the way to the back, just leaving the Mike linebacker. This is how dumb it was. I was leaving the Mike linebacker completely unblocked on purpose because I knew the defensive coordinator would never adjust, but I knew that their guy couldn't tackle my guy 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I get it.
And so
if you have the
that's when we started rolling on offense, is because nobody was adjusting anything, and we were just out there just beating you one-on-one, and the defense coordinator gets pissed and frustrated because there's nothing he can do except he's like, Coach, I got somebody right there in the hole. What else can you do? And they won't try all this exotic shit. Because that's where I made my mistake early when I came to high school, is I'd scheme people up, and they would come up with some exotic blitz or something like that. And then I'm having to adjust. No, man, just run my stuff. Teach the kids the most unsound football you've ever heard of your life. But they just couldn't make the play. That's how we won 55 out of 58 games where it was.
You had the superior athletes.
It was like it was playing a video game.
It's like watch basketball. The most athletic teams win. The teams that can shoot the ball best win.
Yeah. It's kind of how it works.
That's why at the NBA level, sometimes you'll get schematics and stuff that kick in because everybody's really, really good. At the NFL level, you'll see stuff that's works because everybody's really good. Nobody's Patrick Mahomes and can play without an amputated leg, but but everybody's really good, so coaching kicks back in. The college game's about recruiting.
That's it, man.
It's just about recruiting.
It's really on any level in any game you play. If your X's are better than their O's, you win. But
group of 5 head coaches becoming coordinators. Is this money?
I'm not going to say who it is.
Okay.
I think we're going to have another one occur here shortly.
Okay.
I think you're going to have another group of 5 head coach leave to become a coordinator at a Power 5 school. I think it's money, obviously.
Sure.
They can make it easily double what they're making as a head coach. Some of them, not all of them. 2 is this. You're starting to see a little trend. I've had some conversations with some guys. If you're a really successful coordinator at a big school, it may be easier for you now to get a big-time head job than it would be jumping from the head coach of a lower group of 5 school to to that school. So take Sean Lewis, for example. Sean Lewis left. He was at Kent State, did a great job at Kent State. He became Deion's offensive coordinator out at Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I got a lot of respect for the guy. Sean Lewis, met him very briefly. He wouldn't know me if we met at a dark hall somewhere, but he was the one that I think I've told you this story privately. Is when we were in those, we played them here at Ole Miss one year. I don't remember what year it was, and it was like 1,000 rain delays, and we were beating them by like 30 something points with like 4 minutes to go in the game. And he was not going, it was his first year, and he was going to teach his kids to finish the game. He wasn't going to pack it up and go home. And we stayed another like 4 hours to play like 5 minutes or whatever it was. But I got a lot of respect for the guy. I think he's done a great job. I think he's a good offensive mind, but I think you're going to see another one happen here shortly. I don't want to out the guy, but I think there's a deal getting done, or one trying to get done. Be something to look for in the near future.
Okay.
And then how about this? Zach Arnett at Mississippi State hired my main man, Joey Jones, and Steve Campbell.
Joey was retired, right?
Joey was retired. He was in Birmingham.
What about Steve?
I don't know what Steve was doing. I think he was still getting paid by South Alabama. But Kane, if you're listening, which I know his wife listens, I don't know. Kane listens from time to time. It looks like if it doesn't work out for Kane at South, I think it is. He's got a job at Mississippi State. So Zach Arnett went out and hired every head coach in South Alabama history, not named Kane Wommack, except for Kane.
Hey, I think Kane's doing okay right now.
Kane's okay. Yeah. But no, here's the interesting thing. I like what he's doing here. I think he's kind of, Zach's kind of being a little cutting edge here. Player culture, as we know, is a big problem. And he's hiring head coaches to help the culture and help with the kids and to talk to them, give them another voice outside someone that's coaching them every day, that's been there, done that, in the player development standpoint to help with that because it's a big issue.
It's interesting you say that because I've been doing a little deep dive on some basketball people. And one of the basketball people I've been doing a deep dive on, just in case, is Will Wade, the former LSU coach, who has a podcast now. And on his podcast, he talked about culture being, quote, bullshit. He said culture is just about winning. Just win. If you win, culture's good. If you don't, culture's bad. Is it that simple?
No. I like Will Wade too.
I do too.
I like him. That is bullshit. Come on, man. You can't. I disagree with that 200%. If you have poor culture and you lose, you seem to lose a lot in a row.
It falls apart
It falls
fast.
apart quick.
Right.
Okay. You got to have. Look, there's going to be adversity in every team. Any team that you have, there's going to be adversity, right? You have to have the right culture to get through that. You can't just, because if you don't have good culture and good leadership and understanding and belief in the coach and things like that, and belief in the message and what you're doing, it's contagious, man. It falls apart. It can be really good. Now, if you're winning, that's what I call being a front runner. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a front runner and everything is hunky dory and everything's great. But the second you get punched in the mouth, how do you respond to that? That's culture to me.
See, to me, this is one of the real risks about programs that are super portal heavy.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't get off to a great start and you haven't had a chance to build culture and to build camaraderie and some of that stuff, it'll fall apart quick now.
Yeah.
And you can't get it back because you can't fix it in the middle of the year.
Yeah. And I obviously know Joey very well, worked with him for 3 years. I know Steve a little bit, not a lot of bit, but I know Joey a ton, and he's a stud, man. I love Joey. I've talked to him the last couple of days. I'm excited for him and his family. But look, the game's better with him in it. He's just he gets it. I mean, he knows how to build culture, and that's what he was the best at. And he was a hell of a player, obviously. And, I have a lot of respect for him because of he was one of my heroes growing up. So I'm glad that he's back in the game. He'll be doing some recruiting stuff and things like that. But look, I I love the guy, so I'm excited about him and the opportunity he's getting.
Got something on. There was something in the stream that reminded me of this. I meant to write about this in my 10 thoughts piece at rebelgrove.com yesterday, and I just didn't do it. I was having one of those days where I woke up and I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm going to write about. No clue. And so I come sit up here with a cup of coffee and I stare at the computer for a minute and I'm like, just go. Just start, Neal. Maybe you'll get some momentum. Maybe you'll get going. Just get going. It's kind of like running.
Yeah.
The hardest mile is always the first mile. Without fail. When you get through the first mile, you're like, okay, that's okay. Here we go, second mile. And then you get to, you're like 3 miles in, you're like, okay, I'm running now. So writing's kind of that way too, but I sort of forgot. There's a guy, he's a journalism guy. He's based in West Virginia, Charleston, West Virginia. He had some tweets yesterday that were pretty interesting.
Just some random guy?
No, he's a journalism guy, and he got a bunch of conference stuff right last year.
Oh, gotcha.
Like affiliation stuff.
So he knows somebody.
Clearly knows somebody. Yeah. He says if the Big 12 adds the right 6 Pac-10 schools, it can see its yearly payouts go above the $35 million per school number the way the current deal is structured, because those 6 schools are worth approximately $200 million per year as a block. He talks about how there were 4 Pac schools. Basically, the Big 12 was trying to take some of the Pac-12 schools.
Did he name them? Arizona State, Colorado?
He doesn't name them, but that's the rumor is that it's
Utah.
Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado.
Yeah. That's what I understand.
Amazon did not want the full slate of Pac-12 games when they were doing their contract. They wanted 11 football games. They wanted the first choice each week, including the conference championship game, 18 basketball games. They offered $100 million a year for 4 years. The scraps left, he says, would not net them the $150 million yearly from another network they'd need to match the original ESPN offer. So Amazon wanted to be the Pac-12's number 1.
It's pretty interesting.
All right, he goes, here's the conundrum. The maximum value for the Big 12 is 6 of the Pac schools. Every scenario has been exhaustively studied, and after adding 6 of the 10, any further additions dilute the money per school. The 6 that add the most are Oregon, Washington, Stanford, Colorado, Arizona State. But you can interchange Utah with any of those after the first 3 and still come out with a similar valuation. Here's where it gets murkier. Stanford would currently rather wither on the vine than join the Big 12, so you almost have to omit them from this group by default. But the California media market's a huge get for the Big 12 to get maximum valuation, so that leaves Cal, who also doesn't want to be associated with his words, not mine, for anybody who gets upset, breadbasket red states. Don't tell me politics aren't part of sports. Don't tell me politics aren't part of sports. Politics are absolutely part of sports.
Well, isn't it these 2 schools are the ones that are holding up this whole playoff thing too?
Well, maybe to a point, until they get to the point where everybody looks at them and goes, hey, we gave you plenty of time.
Yeah, they're going to wake up and be playing with Idaho.
He says, which further means San Diego State is an honest-to-God candidate that could potentially bring more value to the Big 12 than any of the 4 corner schools.
Yeah.
So it's currently a buyer's market to get the Big 12 conference to 18 members.
18?
18. He goes, and then there's the matter of the 2 to 4 basketball-only additions that are being eyed.
Gonzaga, St. Mary's, maybe?
Villanova, UConn, St. John's are also courted as possible additions. The Big 12 in Madison Square Garden, just think about that for a few minutes. So there's a lot happening here.
Yeah, we said this way back in this, when we first started this podcast and all this stuff was starting out, right? Everybody's trying to get to the 16 teams, right? That's kind of like the magic number.
16 is the current magic number.
Okay.
Although the Big 12 apparently looks at it and goes, we're not hostage to that number.
I know, but just think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 16 teams is the magic number. Well, you have 5 conferences. 5 Power 5 conferences. That's why they call it the Power 5. Okay, there's 65 teams in the Power 5. considered. Okay.
Yeah.
Notre Dame being one, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the old math, 4 times 16 is 64 by the old math. That's before we start all this Common Core bullshit. Okay. But back in the day, 4 times 16 was 64.
Yes.
And guess what? I didn't need a whole sheet of paper to write that out. Okay. Just kind of like in my memory, right?
Well, we don't want to, the kids who are behind, we don't want their feelings to be hurt.
But my point is,
instead,
somebody's getting left out.
What we want to do is, instead of saying, hey, this is just the way life works. Some people are smarter than others. Some people are better looking than others. Some people more athletic than others. What we want to do is we want to drag the top down. Because as a society, if we'll take the best, the smartest ones, the smart kids, and haul their asses to the back and stop them from growing,
yeah,
as a society, think how much more happy we'll be.
It's amazing. But like 4 times
Common Core's freaking stupid.
Hey, 4 times 16 is 64.
Always.
All right.
Just memorize
that
it.
means by the old math, 5 minus 4, and look, I didn't need a whole sheet to figure it out either, is 1. So that means there's going to be one conference.
Show me your work.
I can't. I forgot my steps. I know that's wrong because I forgot my steps.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But there's only one. There's going to be somebody left out in the cold.
Yeah.
I've said this from the jump. It's going to be the Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever it's going to be. And the only way the Pac-10, Pac-12 survive is to elevate teams to that conference. Bring in your Boise's, bring in all that.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego State's going to end up jumping somewhere. But they got to bring in some of those West Coast, maybe even Utah State. They're going to have to bring them in to survive.
Oh, they're going to die.
Yeah, they're going to have to bring them in to survive if they're going to survive.
They're not going to survive.
So it is what it is.
We're going to have, at some point, relatively soon, a super league. It's the only way it's going to work.
Well, I still have to fill out my NCAA certification for my business.
Well, you'll just need to give them all the paperwork from each day's transactions.
Oh my gosh.
Going back 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
Also send them
inside joke. I'm sorry, guys.
Send them anything that you ever thought as well.
Oh. All right. So before we get out of here today,
yep.
I had to get your thoughts on this. Okay.
Before you do, let me tell you this. We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great products. You might notice today it's warming up a little bit. There's going to be more cold weather, but we know it's coming. You know it's coming. Thank God. We're going to get some spring, and then following spring, we're going to get summer. I know Tyler loves some summer.
I do.
I enjoy summer as well. One thing that you want to work in the summer is your air conditioning unit. You haven't been using it all that much lately, but we're also getting into that time of the year where you use the heat one day, use the air one day, use the heat one day, use the air one day. You're stressing your system. If there's any sign that your system needs a little work, get in touch with our friends at Comer in Southern. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, that area, call Comer, 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, DeSoto County, South Haven, that area, get in touch with our friends at Southern, 662-429-4429.
All right. I know this is a football sports podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten a lot of comedy in my life. I mean, I don't know if I've laughed as hard. My wife made me laugh so hard last night that I started crying about it.
Yep.
Were you following in this Chinese balloon stuff?
I mean,
like it took over my household. It took over my business.
I mean, not really. I mean, I knew it was happening. And I would have predicted when it was over Montana. I predicted accurately that we would shoot it down, we being what's left of the U.S. military, would shoot it down once it got into the Atlantic Ocean and we had the Chinese's permission to shoot it down. Okay. That was the extent of my thought about the balloon.
As I've mentioned on this podcast several times, I know this is hard to believe. I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree in education.
Okay.
I have a doctorate in common sense.
You do.
It's been awarded.
You're very commonsensical.
Yeah. So, with that being said, I have to apply my knowledge of common sense to the situation.
Okay.
And I just don't feel there was a lot of common sense applied to this deal. So
I'm all ears. I'm curious now.
You're telling me, not you, I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
You're telling me that the most technologically advanced, like when you turn on those TVs right there, I guarantee you, when you flip that TV around on this back, it doesn't say made in Des Moines, Iowa. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably true.
The most technologically advanced country in the world that has to fly a freaking hot air balloon over the top of a country to get spy information at 60,000 feet, where at 40,000 feet above that balloon, they have about 187 satellites staring down at us at all times.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's one.
All right.
So cool. All right. Two is, as the United States government, I looked this up for shits and giggles. Do you know how much an F-22 Raptor cost? That's the fighter jet that shot it down, just in case you're curious.
I don't.
$216 million per plane.
Okay.
All right. A Sidewinder missile, the one they fired.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much those cost per?
I mean, at several $1 million.
No, just $400,000.
Okay. I don't know.
So let's just call it now. This thing flew, left China, went over Russia, comes to the Aleutian Islands. So it first crossed United States airspace in Alaska, and goes into Canada. Actually came across like in Washington, and gets to Missoula, or Billings, Montana, where it was before anybody in public recognized it. Right.
Right.
There is no telling how many planes that we were up there tracking this thing and flying around it.
This wasn't the first time, though, that they sent a balloon across the continental U.S.
Sure, right? I mean, sure. We spent all this money, right? And then finally, when the thing gets into the water at Myrtle Beach, we take a $210 million plane and we shoot a $400,000 missile at a hot air balloon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
It was a big balloon.
Look, I'm going to volunteer myself the next time this happens.
Yeah.
If you'll give me a Cessna, a case of beer, and a nail gun, we can fly up there. Like, isn't it a little bit?
So stupid.
Isn't it a little bit of an overkill to shoot a $400,000 missile into a hot air balloon? And it doesn't even explode, by the way. It just popped it. Okay, it didn't explode. All right, it didn't even. I mean, like, well, why? I mean, seriously, you could have got some redneck in a parachute off a Cessna with a nail gun and could have done the same damn thing. Don't you think it's a little bit of overkill?
Of course it was overkill.
Like, what are we doing? Like,
it was political theater. It's like so many other things that we do now in politics on both sides of the aisle. It's total theater. It was theater. Biden was starting to get beat up.
And so we decided to shoot a missile at a hot air balloon.
Once we got the permission of the Chinese to shoot it down.
And that's the other thing. Like, everybody's phone, I'm sure you don't, but like, I mean, they're banning TikTok. I mean, they're already on our phones. I'm going to have a conversation about this. And if I open up TikTok when I leave here, I'm going to have a path of the balloon on my TikTok. I mean, they know everything we're doing anyway. And I don't know, man. It was so hilarious.
So do you think it was the Chinese just sort of flexing their muscles a little bit, sort of taunting us a little bit? Or what do you think it was? I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Whatever they need to know, they already know.
Yeah.
They've got satellites that they know where all of our nuclear stuff is and all that. But I don't know. I mean,
it was almost like a troll. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm kind of mean.
Like, I don't know. I mean, like a hot air balloon. Like, I think I texted you. It's like, I mean, what are we doing? It's like riding horses to California instead of taking a plane. I mean, a hot air balloon, like the most technologically advanced country in this world, flew a hot air balloon over our country.
I think it was trolling us a little bit. Maybe supposedly they've done this all the time, and people usually don't see them because they're so high up. People don't usually spot them, and for whatever reason, it got spotted and it became this story. And then you had the explosion that wasn't in Billings, Montana, and I don't know.
But the other thing is, like, people were talking about, oh, why didn't they shoot it down over Montana and all that stuff? I don't know, but I can tell you this. I know that missile that they shot at it did not explode when it hit the thing. It had to go somewhere. It had to hit the ground somewhere. They probably didn't want a Sidewinder missile landing in downtown Billings.
Probably not.
It wasn't really, I don't think it was the 5 solar panels that they were worried about hitting the ground. I think it was the missile that they shot through it that didn't even do anything but pop it. I mean, it's not going to blow up on contact. It probably didn't want that thing hitting the ground, I imagine.
Probably knew that it was on its way. I think that's the question some people have is, why'd you let it fly? Why'd you even let it get into American airspace?
Here's the other thing. I will say this. I will not. I don't want to get this very political. I'll let you be the political guy. I think it's pretty evident where I am, where I stand. But at the same time, dude, it's not like, look, the dude's not going to be sitting up there and going, "Oh shit," I guess we got to let it fly all the way across our country before. I mean, they had to know what its capabilities were. They had to know it wasn't a threat. There's so many.
I would hope.
I mean, dude,
I would think so.
All the technology we have, we could have gone up there and shot a harpoon at the thing and lassoed it if we wanted to. I mean, it's not. I mean, this is a balloon. It's not a spacecraft. It's a balloon.
So this is where their lack of transparency hurts them.
Yeah, sure.
And it's also where you see that a balloon can lead to such divisiveness in our country. It tells you that we're more divided today than we've ever been.
Dude, you would have thought it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was like, I mean, you got the Republicans are calling him a coward because he hadn't shot the thing down yet. And then, I mean, they could have shot it down in Alaska. You got the Democrats saying, this has happened before. I'm sure it's happened a lot. There's so much shit that goes on.
Supposedly it would happen during the Trump administration, and they just wouldn't tell him because they were afraid that he would be like, "No, we're taking the sumbitch down right now."
I'm sure.
And so you just
per sources.
Yeah, I mean, you just yeah.
I'm sure
it just gets idiotic.
Yeah,
but I no. To answer your question, I really wasn't all that captivated by it. I mean, I was like, whatever. It's a balloon.
I mean.
People are like, it's going to take out our electrical grid. I'm like, I got a feeling it probably won't.
Could you imagine, like, how you like study history, like 70 years from now when you learn about what caused World War I, what caused World War II. The thing that caused World War III was a hot air balloon flying over the country that we shot down a hot air balloon. Would that be classic?
You do wonder if, not to go too conspiratorial here, you do wonder if the Chinese sometimes are seeing how much can we get away with.
Sure.
Because they want to see what our reaction is going to be when they move on Taiwan. If they move on Taiwan, what is our reaction as a country? And I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm not enough of an expert on those things to weigh in. I just sometimes I wonder if the Chinese are behind the fentanyl crisis. I mean, that is an attack on our country. They're using the southern border to push fentanyl into our country, and it's designed to kill American kids. It is. It's what it's built. It's what it's meant for. That's an attack on our country. They own a lot of our land. They own we have an issue with the Chinese. We do. They're not an ally. They don't like us.
Did they take over the Pro Bowl?
It's possible.
I think that's where
it's possible.
I think that's very evident.
I mean, hey, I bet they do the hip drop tackle in China. Right? Right?
I think it's legal over there.
Can you imagine how good Chinese Patrick Mahomes is? I mean, God almighty. That dude.
What do you think he's doing today? You think he's filling up hot air balloons, or what do you think Chinese Patrick Mahomes is doing today?
Oh, he's just filling up balloons.
Filling up balloons?
Yeah. Methodically. On one foot.
Hey, you talking about hand raised guy?
That guy?
Hey, no, you got hand raised guy, right? You're in China. And they go, all right, look, guys, what are we going to do? What can we do to get some information in America? We got this $4 billion satellite sitting right above them. We can look at no. Hey,
let's put a balloon.
Hey, look, we got this app called TikTok, and we can get all their information anytime we want it. No. Got an idea. Let's blow up a balloon.
That was a big ass balloon now.
Let's blow up a balloon.
A balloon the size of 3 school buses. That's a big balloon.
It's a big balloon. It's a lot of plastic. Let's blow up a balloon. Let's.
You think it was even had any? What was on its payload? Do you think it had anything? Or do you think it was just an empty balloon?
I bet you nothing on that thing worked. If you made me guess, I bet there was nothing.
There were no top secrets on that balloon, I'm guessing.
No. Hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to blow up a balloon, and we're going to put our most technologically advanced spy stuff on this balloon, but they won't shoot it down. They won't. There's nothing on that thing. I bet it didn't even work. I bet it wasn't plugged in. It had no battery. I bet it was
just floating around.
Like, hey, don't we have some extra?
They did say that something was directing it, that it wasn't just at the whim of the winds. It wasn't just like following the jet stream.
Well, it went over nothing sexy after North Dakota or wherever the only thing it really went over was
some of the missile
the
silos
missile
or
sites
something.
or whatever up in the Dakotas. But after that, I don't know why it took a left-hand turn in Kansas City. I don't know if it heard about good barbecue over there or something like that. Could have said, hey, I want to get that secret rendezvous recipe. What is that?
Yeah.
That's what I want to know. But, yeah, I don't know, man. I think it's comical. I'm not, but I'm by myself on this, by the way. We had some people think I'm too light on the conversation.
I'm the same way. I've had, believe it or not, people are you not worked up about this? I'm like, no.
Nah.
It's a balloon. You'll have to tell me more before I get worked up about it.
All right, last thing. I want to get us out of here.
Okay.
What do you turn to? Like, football's over with. Let's take basketball. Are you just basketball from here on out? Or what if you take out basketball and the Cubs, are you watching anything from now to football season?
No basketball, no Cubs.
No NBA.
Okay.
No basketball, because you'll say March Madness, but no basketball, no Cubs. What are you watching? What gets you through the football season?
I'll read more.
Okay.
I'll get out more. I'd go
to Blind Pig twice in a month.
No. I'll probably go back. So what was that? That was February. I'll probably go back to Blind Pig like in December. That was my outing. As I walked away, I was like, it was fun. I was there I'll be back in 10 months. Oh, that's terrible. God, it's just so. I don't know. I'll hang out outside more.
Okay. Grill.
Yeah, I'll grill more.
Any sporting events? Anything catch your attention besides
no
the Cubs?
No.
Baseball.
I'll watch other baseball teams, but no.
Really?
Not really. And I'm cool with that. Like, I'm not a big TV person. It was one of the reasons that I was like, we got to get rid of DirecTV because what do we watch? Like, literally, what do we watch on DirecTV? What is it that we're paying all this money for? Like, we don't watch a lot of HBO. Laura and I are a million years behind on Netflix and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I'm not a big TV, so I'll hang out outside and I don't know, take dogs for a walk, stuff like that. Nothing really.
I feel like the reason I want to bring this up is I feel like I'm being targeted by sports. Like when football's over with, I like college basketball, and I'm taking those out, and I like the Braves. So that's why my basketball and my Braves are equal. But love golf.
Yeah.
Watching on TV, and I play fantasy golf.
You watch NASCAR?
Watch NASCAR. Like, example, first NASCAR race was like the Busch Clash or whatever. That was Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so you got the Super Bowl coming up, and then the week after the Super Bowl, Daytona starts.
Yeah.
That's Daytona. So it feels like it just slides right in.
That's why do you feel like you're targeted? It feels like they're trying to help you.
And then I'm big UFC, golf, and NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
And this weekend on Saturday night, we got a big UFC pay-per-view this weekend. So it's like boom, 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 boom. Everything hits right. You got the Waste Management, which is the first elevated event in the PGA's first elevated event with a full.
So it feels to me like the sports guys are trying to take care of you.
They are. Like, I don't miss a beat.
Do you want them to give you a break?
No. I feel good. Like, I enjoy it. Like, I get just as much enjoyment watching those three things. It kind of takes up my football, if that makes sense. Like,
sure.
You got UFC's on now. UFC will go on a run where they're on every Saturday night from here on out.
Yeah.
Golf is on every weekend. You got NASCAR's on Sunday, every once in a while Saturday, but it kind of just leads you up into football season. But now what's crazy with me is when I say it feels like it's targeted, is you look at the PGA, they've moved their schedule up to where it's finishing now right before the start of football season. Like, everybody's adjusting. And it's like those three entities are fighting baseball for that window, because I think you've addressed it many times how young people aren't watching baseball as much anymore.
Hardly.
So there's a lot of time there.
It's like if I'm Major League Baseball after this coming season, Shohei Ohtani is a Yankee or a Cub.
Braves
would be fun. Red Sox. something like that. But he's playing on the Eastern or Central time zones.
Yep.
He's not playing in Los Angeles. We've tried that. I know it's the Angels, not the Dodgers. But he's not playing the bulk of his games starting at 10:05 Eastern time.
Yeah.
I gotta play. I need him. Frankly, I need him in one of my big markets, and I need him for Phillies. He got to play for a team.
He needs to be big market East Coast.
Big market or
Mets or Yankees, probably.
You could. I mean, I know I'm biased when I say
Cubs.
this, but
Yeah,
you could put him
Cubs.
with the Cubs because
Yeah.
the Cubs have a big national following.
You could put him with the Cardinals too, but you're not going to like that.
No, can't put him there.
I don't think the Braves can afford him, but
But things like that, if I'm fixing it, I got to get it fixed. Like Mike Trout, I'm getting him traded. I mean, if I'm baseball, I'm panicked a little. I've got to build some sort of a national brand with players that resonate.
Yeah.
And Ohtani is just too good in so many ways to let him languish with the Angels.
Do you have any interest in watching golf, NASCAR, and or UFC?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, if you told me there was some UFC fight that I needed to watch and you showed me why I'm watching it, okay. I listen to Rogan a lot and he talks about UFC, so sometimes I'm at least attuned to it. I just don't like golf. I don't know anything about it. I don't understand it. I get it, but I just didn't play. I never played.
Justin Rose won today. 4 years since his last win. It's like one of the longest droughts.
And Justin Rose could walk into here and I would not know him.
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't have no idea who he is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then NASCAR, not really.
Have you been to a race?
Never been.
We need to go.
I mean, I would go. I would at least see what it's all about. I've been to professional golf.
We can go to Talladega. I can get us hooked up there.
And golf's fine. I have no issue with golf, but like I don't play. When you live here, for example, if you want to go play, you probably need to go to the country. Everybody goes, we can go to the Ole Miss course, but it's hard to. I'm just not. You
could be the worst golfer ever. You got a chance at the Ole Miss University course.
You just don't pick up golf in your 50s.
Sure, you can.
You can't. I don't have time.
It's not that hard. Just swing really hard.
No. I've played. I've played enough to know that it's hard.
That's what I do. I just swing really hard. Just hit it a long way. I don't care where it goes. And that's the great thing about the university course out here. Hit it as hard and as far as you want to, and you'll always find your ball. It's hard to lose a ball out there.
That's good because you play like some of these courses, you can't find the ball. But no, I mean, I will watch a lot of NBA. I watch the NBA playoffs. I like them a lot. I like the NBA playoffs a ton. It's one of my favorite things. And then the Cubs this season will be a perfect Cubs season for me because they're going to be right around 500.
Yeah, super chat over there.
Oh. Can't tell. I need a live show. This will be a perfect Cubs season for me because there's no expectation, and I don't think they'll suck. Like last year, they were done May 15th, and it was over. I think this year they'll at least be competitive. I don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to finish third in the Central. Cardinals will win it. Brewers will finish second. And the Cubs will be right there. I think the Cubs will be competitive with the Brewers. And if you tell me that the Cubs in late August are on the fringes of the wild card race where it's at least interesting, I'd buy it.
Yeah.
And that's all I need.
If you haven't been to a NASCAR race, the only thing I would ever say about people who say they don't like NASCAR, not into it, go to a race.
Okay.
It changes your perspective. That's the only thing I'll say is like before you just kill it, here's
what does not appeal to me about it. I've heard people say they go and they camp out for like 4 days and don't
I've done that. That's
don't
not
shower and all this. I'm like, that's not for me.
So
I'm good.
My hometown is very close to there.
Yeah.
And I go with some people who have some digs close to there. We'll go Saturday night late, okay, and then come back and sleep in like a normal person's place, normal bed.
Gotcha.
But the concert and everything like that on Saturday night's fun. So that's all I got, boss.
All right. Appreciate everybody being in the stream with us. We've been brought to you by Reign. Reign Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push the limits and achieve your goals. Check them out on Instagram at Reign Body Fuel to learn more. We'll be back on Thursday. Make sure that
it's the last Make It Rain of the year.
Yeah, last Make It Rain Thursday of the year. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes' ankle's better by Thursday. God, I hope so. I don't know how he's making.
I bet you don't know who I'm picking.
Oh, I bet I do. I feel confident we're going to be on different sides of the Super Bowl.
It's all personal from here on out.
Yeah, for me, it's just I want them to lose. So the more they lose by, the better. Chase was like, "What make you watch it?" If someone calls me and goes, "Hey, Kansas City's about to lose," I'll probably turn it on.
You're gonna watch.
I don't know that I will. I despise them right now, and I'm still a little bitter about what happened. And I don't know that I'll turn it on. I really don't. To totally honest,
Neal.
I'm being honest. I don't like Philly either, and so it's like, so Philly's gonna win. Well, that's good. Till I think about Philly winning, and then I'm like, that sucks. I don't like the Eagles, but I hate the Chiefs.
I'm having a very difficult time because I know people that are on the Eagles,
Mm-hmm.
and I know coaches that are on the Eagles. I love them. Great people.
But it's still the Eagles.
The fans.
Yeah.
The Eagles fans.
They suck.
The Eagles fans are ruining my expectation for this weekend. But, I'm totally opposite with the Chiefs. Don't know a coach. I don't think I barely know a player just from a long time ago. Haven't had a conversation in a year. One of the very few teams. But I dislike the Eagles fans that much.
Okay. Well,
bet you don't know which way I'm picking.
You're going Chiefs, and I know that. You're going Chiefs. I'm going Eagles. I mean, it's going to be really anticlimactic. But we'll talk about that game. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll talk about the officiating. Maybe the officiating will take it over. I hope so. I hope it's the poorest officiated game in the history of football.
Maybe we can get like North Korea to fly a balloon over by Thursday.
That'd be great. Just let it hover over the stadium where it's a major national incident. All right, until Thursday. Thanks for being with us. We certainly appreciate it. For Tyler, I'm Neal. Take care.